Yeah, hello, good morning everyone. My name is Prasetyo. My student number is 12, 19, 11, 23, and 30, and 72. Uh, I am from Critical Reading, Class C, Departemen Bahasa dan Sastra Inggris, Universitas Airlangga. So, I will share my review about corpus-based comparative study of online news reporting of the COVID-19 outbreak in the Philippines and Malaysia. About this article has been published at December 31, 2020. Uh, and then about the page is 19 and URL http://www.academia.edu 45132 Okay, I will share about the author. This is the Q. Agaron M. Villanueva, University of Philippines, from Quezon City and UPT Asian Center. Yeah, this is 5 subtopics. That is introduction, method, discussion, result, and the conclusion. In the introduction, clarity is achieved by providing information in a predictable order, like the purpose of the study research in introduction. And then about the methods is how to get information or explanation of the procedures used to conduct the experiment. So after that, this is discussion. Discussion explain about what your result in and what contribution your paper makes to the field of study. And then about the result it can open access journal offering out the opportunity to publish. About conclusion, about conclusion, tell the reader how and why it is that what's been presented is significant for practice, policy, and further research. It is also as reader can conclude by our own words. So introduction, about introduction the article. This article explores how online news reports depict COVID-19, gives apparent tension between the news presentation and public reception of the COVID-19. About the author, Theo Iron, also investigate how the discourse on the disease was framed and the topic which it was discussed. This study research focused on news reporting of COVID-19 during its emergency and early outbreak in Philippines and Malaysia. Uh, a comparative approach was applied in analyzing data, uh, particular Facebook news report in the Philippines versus Facebook news report in another English language news in Malaysia as differentiated. Still, about the introduction, the study analyzed that discourse around the outbreak based on the large corpus of Facebook news posts between January and March 2020. And then we move to methods. The author used a corpus-based approach called case analysis. Salient themes and topics and framings around the disease were identified and interpreted. Uh, this is the table of corpus methods included contents, lexicon acquisition, and multimodal output. Next, about discussion. Uh, the author the author saw the data clearly. Its corpus was fit into and con 2011 and launched book with 5 free software tools for corpus linguistic analysis include corpora, headline description, array, tokens, types, and lexical complexity. In this study, explore how was COVID-19 report in the Philippines and Malaysia. It is corresponding that all of the headline description discuss about the coronavirus. Uh, Not only that, discussion of the study focus on Facebook news headlines and description as the data to be used for analysis. And then corpus approach deal with a large amount naturally occurring text. So in this discussion, pattern in language are first identified and quantified. Corpus approach doesn't only provide quantitative analysis, but more importantly, qualitative analysis. So the study design explore themes and topic discussed the news reporting about COVID-19 on Facebook in the Philippines and Malaysia. I think the author analyzed a reference corpus of the English language to surface keywords. The author have a strong foundation to identify how the keywords are used in contact with convergence tools. But what is the interesting the themes and topic that appear along with the disease by identifying the topic into 4 subgroups like nature of news spread of the virus, safety protocol and guidelines. Related topic make the reader can glean some insight to the things that matter the society was as viewed in the media. Next, about the result. The results show the differences in the reporting of the outbreak between the two countries. News reports in the Philippines depicted the disease in enigmatic lens, which explain the alarmist angle of news reports and the reassuring tone of the government versus the war framing of Malaysian news that depicted the disease was an enemy to be fought and defeated. Uh, the result of the study is enigmatic and enigmatic and alarmist reporting in Philippines. PH Corps features more keywords that depict novelty and uncertainty around COVID-19 and my corpus. In reporting about the bid to contain the spread of virus, Philippines news report dealt mostly with the restriction and regulation of the movement, while the Malaysian news cover more issues on personal hygiene and safety protocol. So that is the different. And lastly, concern for Filipino seafarer and overseas Filipino workers that needs to be repatriated was a recurring them in Philippine news reports regarding COVID-19, while concern for the economy was prominent in the Malaysian news report. And then, and the result, the author also saw the related topics in geographic location, race, overseas travel, and the economy to conclude that they are reporting dealt mostly with the restriction and regulation of movement, while my corpus cover more issues and hygiene to safety protocols. About the conclusion, the study therefore shows a depiction of COVID-19 in Malaysia and the Philippines are shaped by each country's recent social and political condition. In this study, readers are able to find new perspective about the online news reporting of outbreak of COVID-19, which might not generalizable to the other contexts. In the operation paper, a preliminary study on representation of COVID-19 in the news reports in the Philippines and Malaysia. Depiction of the pandemic when a larger corpus is included in the study and the span of report coverage covered up until the recent months. For overall statement, overall this is in this article very good. Our research method and presentation of observational data also showed clearly. It is very easy to readers to understand the article. However, the author can actually dig deeper into a respondent by adding a few related questions. I think that's all about the article, corpus-based comparative study of online news reporting of the COVID-19 outbreak in the Philippines and Malaysia. Uh, so, thank you.